guys, welcome back for date number 4. I hope you've been enjoying your dates so far and that you're staying on track and you're meeting with your groups as you need to. Today we're talking about work and money. And back in date 2, we talked about conflict and how we deal with conflict. We talked about some of those conflicts that come up, and they talked about those perpetual things, those things that always are coming up, those unsolvable things, really, right? And I bet in your conversations, either money, household chores, or work-life balance were one of those conflicts. They're
For
big,
sure.
right? They're the things that just keep coming back. And so today we're going to talk about them a little bit, and we're not going to get into specifics of budgeting and working out a chore chart or anything
Yeah, we're
like
not
that.
talking, this is not a strategy session. Hopefully you're seeing the refrain in this whole journey all along the way. This is about talking with one another. It's about critical conversations in your relationship. And so, so early on in our relationship, we've got this dynamic of a single family household, and I work in a passion area with a strange and variable schedule week to week. And we had people that we looked up to early on in that journey, and we observed a really, really significant amount of struggle in those relationships with overwork and with lack of boundaries, leading to burnout and extramarital affairs and divorce. And we just went,
we need something better for our family. We need to
for
find
sure.
a way to make a very a job that demands a lot work in our family.
Absolutely, yeah. And certainly we recognize that this is not by any means limited to pastoral ministry. Anywhere where your employer is demanding much of you, or where you care deeply about the work that you're doing, you're gonna have this kind of natural pull in that direction. And so this is just about like recognizing that struggle, owning it, and trying to figure out ways to work with it. So
For sure.
One of the things we did was
is we have a weekly meeting, and it's pretty simple. It's
not super corporate.
Yeah, we just talk
check-in.
about like what our week looks like. Like, what evenings are you working? What evenings do we have kid things? What kind
rehearsals,
of what kind of balance does the week have? We also get our meal planning in then, and we talk about if I need help with shuttling kids different places, or being here and being there. We work out all the logistics, but also we just kind of check in on how are you actually doing this week? Like, do you need more time to get out, to exercise, to have a little bit of quiet time?
It's a way to connect with one another and to care for one another, to make sure that we're each getting what we need, and that we're living out our family values and keeping that protected in the midst of a variable schedule where things can easily get overfull.
And what it does is that weekly rhythm helps us manage our expectations.
Fewer surprises and disappointments as we flow through the week.
For sure. It helps us prioritize, and it really helps us share the load a little better, especially in these crazy years of parenting, right? They're extra hard. There's extra weight to carry around.
Totally. Yeah, so, there's all kinds of stuff written in the Bible about work and our relationship to work. A couple of verses from Ecclesiastes go like this: a person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. This too, I see, is from the hand of God. For without him, who can eat or find enjoyment? And so it's just a really good sentiment to recognize regular rhythms of meals and finding satisfaction in daily work is a really positive thing. So then we've got verses like Colossians 3:23 from Paul, where he writes, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord. Now this is kind of really interesting when you start overlaying that with things like unpaid work, household chores, and the like.
Whatever you do, unloading the dishwasher, doing laundry, do it with all your heart as working for the Lord.
Right, yeah. So that's a whole different perspective to bring to bear. Telling the kids for the 10,000th time that they need to do this specific thing. These are all opportunities to reframe. We're doing this job for the Lord.
Yeah. Also, the Bible talks a lot about money, but keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. That's from Hebrews. And in Matthew, do not store up for yourself treasures on earth where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And I think these verses just speak so directly at that. Keep money in its right place. Like store up treasures for yourself that aren't money. That's not the kind of treasure we need, right?
Absolutely. So in this date, you're going to discuss work and money in broad terms, and you're going to examine kind of both sides of the equation. If there's situations or struggle around overwork in your relationship, you're going to talk about what each of you bring to the table in your relationship, what your history with work and money is, and what does it mean or look like to have enough. What does contentment look like in your relationship? Kind of back to those verses and everything. So
yeah. And so if you haven't done the exercises yet in the book, My Family History with Money and What Enough Money Means to Me, go ahead and do those before you start the conversations. It just gives you a great place to start thinking.
Absolutely. And you just really want to land the plane on this date, committing to respecting each other's values around money and work, trying to understand the why behind what you're doing, different habits that are emerging there, and then really to work toward a shared goal in all those things.
Yeah, and if you find yourself kind of out of your element, if you find yourself like, we know we have money issues, but we don't actually know what to do with those money issues, and now we've talked about we're on the same page. We've done Financial Peace University before. We find it really helpful for opening up conversations and giving some guidelines. We follow some of them, we don't follow others of them. Or feel free to meet with a financial advisor if you just are feeling out of your element on that stuff.
Yeah. Money and getting a handle around it so that it isn't controlling you or occupying a higher place than it needs to in your relationship is really important. So also, just as you're having all of these conversations, keep in mind the invitation that as things come up and maybe escalate or get heated, or you kind of feel like, we could use a little more support in having this conversation, counseling can be available. I can meet with you. You can call the church office and reach out in that sort of way. We can also get you connected with other local counselors in the area that will just help you work productively through some of these conversation spaces. So that's that. But we just want to release you to another really great date. The cost of love, work and money. Enjoy it. All right. Peace, friends.
Peace.